Yeah, hi Shrey. Thanks so much for joining us. So as you know, this is a LeadSquared webinar, and thanks so much for joining in, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. I'm Shivani Roy, and I run the webinar program at LeadSquared. I also send you emails sometimes. So today we are discussing digitizing collections for faster debt recovery. So some of the things that we'll cover today are, of course, segmenting your cases into meaningful buckets and prioritizing them, identifying cases, multi-channel customer engagement, increasing the efficiency and productivity, and of course trying these in a unified platform. So some of the things that we will include today are, of course, use cases and how essentially LeadSquared can work as a collection CRM. Now, to take us through the session is Mr. Shrey Sheth. He is the principal consultant. He works for LeadSquared. A brief couple of lines about him. He has over 13 years of experience in formulating business transformation strategies, service delivery, implementing complete project lifecycle across banking domains. He is much more than that. Shrey, if you could please share a few lines about yourself, your experience in this domain, and take the session forward.
Sure. Thanks, Shibani, for a quick introduction. So, guys, good afternoon, everyone. So, hope all of you are doing safe and taking all the precautions. And about me, so I've been working in banking and BFSI industry from past 13 years. And I've been in my last role in my previous organization, I was managing digital initiatives for the organization, where my key responsibilities were to digitize all the customer-facing channels where we launched quite innovative solutions which included WhatsApp banking. We were one of the first banks in India at that time to launch WhatsApp banking, and along with the voice assistants including Alexa, chatbot, and other kind of innovative banking solution. In terms of payments and finance, we were I'd worked on a project wherein using your mobile banking you can access a complete marketplace where you can even order food using Swiggy and Zomato, as well as book your Ola and Uber cabs within all within a single mobile banking app. So that's one of few of the critical and high achievement areas for me. So Shivani, over to you.
Thanks so much, Shrey. So, just a quick reminder to everyone, we have Mr. Abhishek Jain with us, who is from the pre-sales team. So, he will be assisting you with all your questions. So, while Shrey takes us through the presentation, Abhishek will be assisting us with answering your question. Thanks so much again for sticking around. Shrey, back to you. Let's start the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Shivani. So, guys, today we are going to talk about how we digitize your collection. So, collection per se, it's a very important area, especially considering the current macroeconomic situations, right? So, in the current macroeconomic situations where, the retail assets, specifically for banking and NBFC, that two specific assets which are unsecured assets, like, for example, your personal loan, your car loans, and with the current macroeconomic, situation which is there, the recovery and collection will take a precedent over acquisition of a new customer. So that's what the top four business strategies are. So from a LeadSquared point of view here, what I have tried to do over here is to highlight the platform capabilities. Basis the platform capabilities, we can configure and customize your collection processes completely on LeadSquared. We can digitize this. We can digitize your complete process end to end, including integration with payment gateways also if required. So it's a kind of a unique solution where all the things, everything and anything which you want to do on collection, everything is digitized, from communicating to customers to everything. So I'll take you through a quick walkthrough of our digitization platform. So about LeadSquare, we are an 8-year-old organization with 1,000+ customers and more than 100K users, with 50K users at field force. Company started by serial IIT entrepreneurs. So I think this is more to do from a read basis. Our focus and our presence recognition will be, we were awarded 5 times in a row Deloitte Technology Fast 50 Award. So quite an achievement in itself. So this is something which I'm going to cover from collections per se, which is how debt recovery pyramid works, and what are the nuances of the debt recovery system, and how do we engage and get maximum productivity and maximum ROI in terms of collection as a business and collection as a process. Okay. So moving ahead, this is how we have structured how the debt recovery pyramid works. So the bottom of the pyramid over here includes, your basic thing, which it starts with categorization of borrowers. You may categorize borrowers basis DPD or type of the products, communication and notification, and case prioritization. So here, in traditional collection applications which are right now available in market, communication and notification, which is something which needs a lot of integration and a lot of challenges. So in my previous stint, in the collection use case, I had saw that for sending communication to customers, we used to do a download of a file, export it from one system, upload it into another system, where it's mostly prone for manual errors. So that is something which we tried covering, and making a fail-safe option within LeadSquared. That's one thing which I would focus on. Second one is on the prioritization and case allocation. Okay, so that is something which is important, and that is something which we'll also focus on. Coming to the next section of the pyramid, which comes as an advanced analytics, where you'll be able to see your collection funnel. So what we have tried over here is we have taken collection as a head-on engagement, and we have tried to get maximum efficiencies, create funnels for collection, do various data slice and dices to show how much time it takes to do one recovery, or how much time it takes from a productivity standpoint, from a collections team per se, how much time it will take to complete the collection cycle end to end. Now the topmost layer, which is the most important layer, is how we are enabling your recovery and your collection strategy. So here we can do your contact center prioritization. We can offer settlements if there is required, like one time settlements. We can help you decide your allocation strategies as well. So this is something which we call it as our debt recovery pyramid, and this is we are going to go much more detail about each and every item which I just explained. Okay. Moving ahead is borrower allocation. So borrower allocation is something which is very peculiar and very important, right? So say for example, if in your line of business you have a customer sitting in Chennai, right, who speaks only Tamil and some broken English. You don't want someone from Delhi talking in proper Hindi or high fundu English to call the customer and do the recovery. That is not what the business wants, right? Because it reduces your recovery probability by a lot because of the communication gaps and all other things. So that's where LeadSquared comes into picture, where we can do a proper borrower allocation. We can do a distribution basis location, amount, region, and also considering the borrower attributes as well as the agent attributes as showcased in the diagram below. So we can do it basis languages, we can do it basis DPDs, and all the permutation combination you can think of. It can be as simple as it can be. It can be as complex as it can be. Moving ahead is bucketing of loan. Okay, so bucketing is something which is a pretty important step from a collection strategy standpoint. Basis your collection buckets, it defines your collection strategy, whether you are adopting a soft collection strategy or hard collection strategy. And from a strategy standpoint, are you using champion method of collection, or you're using a challenger method of collection? So, bucketing is something which we can do it basis our smart views and dynamic lists. And we can categorize customers into various buckets basis multiple parameters. So here we have categorized customers, basis a DPD, and basis that you can identify and put customers into a bucket of model your collection strategy in a way where it will be hard collection or soft collection, or anything as per your process. Moving ahead is about the prioritization. So here from a prioritization standpoint, we can define a priority in the system. That priority again is completely dependent and configurable as per your process requirement. It can be basis the amount due, it can be basis DPD, it can be basis systemic reminders. So here, basis the priority of your collection, you can adopt a different strategy. Say, for example, if my collection is less than 50K, I would not want to even spend some money or spend some efforts to do a soft collection. I would send him periodic reminders. I would send him emailers and SMSs for to start the collection piece. If it is above 100K, it will go into my high priority bucket where contact center team will speak with the borrowers and get promise to pays from them. So this is about the collection strategy which I just spoke about, right? We can do it basis your you can nurture your borrowers basis the combination of categorization as well as combination of prioritization. And basis the categorization and prioritization, you can define your own actions. So this is what the slides indicates, that basis priority and basis categorization, you can have different workflows in the system, processes in the system which can run parallel. Coming to intelligent notification, so this is something which I spoke about. So we can notify your field sales team also from a collection standpoint. So here it is a seamless handoff between your contact center or your calling team vis-a-vis your field sales team, field collection team, which we call as collection champions. So there is a seamless handoff. So this is where as soon as a borrower is assigned to the collection team at on the field level, they will be able to get notifications vis-a-vis SMS, emails, etc. Now, coming to most important part of the solution is communication automation. So here, basis multiple parameters, we can completely automate communication, which can be done to the borrower. Communication maybe via emailers, it can be via SMSs. If you have an enterprise WhatsApp, we can do a WhatsApp integration as well. And we can also do a kind of a drip communication. Sorry. We can do a drip communication. Say, for example, if you're doing an email reminder for a particular borrower, and if he opens the email, if he doesn't open the email, send him some other email. So drip communication is also something which is completely possible. And best part is, any communication which is going to the borrower is visible on the activity wall in LeadSquared. So I'll come to that in few minutes. I'll show you how the screen looks like. Moving ahead from a call center lifecycle management per se, we can configure system in a way where we can capture the disposition, whether contact is made, not made. If the contact is made, whether the customer has an intent to pay. If there is an intent to pay, then what is the promise to pay date, and all those things can be automatically captured in the system basis conversation held between your contact center agent and the borrower. And basis those details which are captured in system generates automatically next best action. So automatically system generates a next best action based on the parameters which are put in, and it takes through. So this is a typical cycle from a call center management, where there is a contact, there is no contact. If there is no contact, then after X number of attempts, it gets transferred to the field agent collections. Going to the field collection management, it is somewhat similar, but here we can also do it basis integration can be done with social media to do a borrower identity check basis the registered email address. We can scroll through the LinkedIn profiles, his social media accounts, etc., and generate required inputs for the field collection agent standpoint. It's basically what a hunter does in the current banking scenario, but that process is completely manual. Here with LeadSquared, we can automate that process and get that input, and enable your field collection manager to chase customer in case required, do a hard collection as well. Moving to the next piece is how do we empower your field collection agent, wherein all those things which are required can be done. So there can be an auto plan of your collection agent schedule, where meetings and collection and route can be defined. System will preempt him and help him save time basis traffic and navigate to all the required borrows throughout the day. This is more to do where from a collection manager standpoint, he will be able to track what all collection guy is doing throughout the day, and how he's traveling how many collections he has done throughout the day, and those information. This is more to do with the Uberization, where the system will help him, the collection agent, to identify the details and take it ahead. And moving ahead to, this is something which I was talking about on conversation, where the complete activity history will be captured for that particular borrower, and all the details, or whether there is a email which has been sent or there was a call which was made, will be visible to the field collection agent. All the conversation for the particular borrower would be visible. Is auto allocation. So here the allocation of the agent can be completely automated. We can have a hub and spoke model. We can have a model basis the pin code. We can do an allocation basis the the current location of the collection agent. So everything which we can do in a normal field sales scenario can be done in the field collection scenario as well. So this is more from location standpoint, where basis the location it can help him navigate to the correct address of the customer. This will help from a collection standpoint if you want to do a geo tagging, or say in a case of asset, right, in case of working capital or other type of loan, where you want to capture the asset, take a photograph, etc. So all those things could be completely automated along with geo tagging and geo fencing as well. This something which is quite unique, where when the field agent tries to navigate to a particular borrower, the system will populate the address automatically, and this helps him to detect whether the address is fake or not. So this saves a lot of time from a field collection agent standpoint. Here basis the collection strategy as well, we can help him to cross sell and upsell different type of products. Say for example, if I'm doing a collection and we understand that customer is facing some liquidity crunch at current juncture basis, so we can offer him a loan against properties and secured loans which will customer can opt for, and after opting such loans he can work towards it, and it will help him to reduce his liquidity constraints at the current juncture. And this is about reporting. LeadSquared, I think all of us are aware how the reportings are there clear cut in the application, and we have more than 100 plus out of box report. Next thing is about location, right? So this is again from a collection manager standpoint, where the complete location of the his team would be visible. They'll be able to track when and how each meeting is happening and how it is happening. Coming to the next important point is about the collection performance dashboard. So this is how indicative dashboard looks like, where you can track activities performed by each and every agent. You can track collection by region or by products, or basis any other reporting requirements if you have. So this is how the collection funnel looks like, along with the time taken for the debt recovery. This is how the system will give you the reports. So I'll spend a couple of more minutes on this slide, which is about differentiation, where first and important point is ease of use, that our application is completely customizable and configurable, which would suit to your processes. We have an application which works offline as well, right? So in case there is no data connectivity, the agent can still do all his activities, and data will get synced up once there is a connectivity which comes into picture. Next thing which will come is from an optimal data battery usage standpoint, wherein sorry, wherein LeadSquare application for both Android and iOS are completely native application and are optimized for optimal data and the battery usage. So these are one of the very important enablers. You don't want your collection agent who is running on a field that if he's using an application, his battery gain drain get, his battery gets drained off, and he's not able to be productive for complete 8 hours, right? And if phone gets switched off in between, so you don't want that to be happening. From a mobile application standpoint, we can have, check-in, check-out restriction. We can auto capture the conversations. We can also integrate with cloud calling along with recording. And as I mentioned earlier, we can have a next meeting recommendation. We can have Uberization, basis pin code, geo tracking, WhatsApp integration, everything. Coming to the other piece, which is more from allocation strategy, loss forecasting, we can also do, payment propensity modeling. Basis the data which is available in LeadSquare, we can do a data modeling basis AI and ML, and give a borrower score as well. What is the probability of recovery which will happen for that particular borrower? We can even build a settlement prioritization if you want to offer customers one-time settlement basis certain rules, certain DPDs and his past collection. I'm sorry, his past payment track record, that can also be done. So anything, everything which your system or your process demands can be achieved using LeadSquare. There's more to do from a reporting standpoint, and this is about why you should select LeadSquare as a product to help your collection, to drive your collection strategy. I think I've covered all these points during the presentation. So if there are any questions, happy to answer those.
Hi, Shrey. So we have a question from Sandesh. She says, is this a white label product or is it LeadSquare's own solution?
It's a LeadSquared own solution. Everything is built using the platform capabilities of LeadSquare, Sandesh. So, it's not a white label solution. It's LeadSquare own solution. And the best part over here is it can be configured and customized as per your requirements. If, you have a different process, we can have a different process configured on the system as well.
All right. I'm moving to Rohan's question. He says, how can we assess the smart reporting?
So, reporting, Rohan, as such, see, each and every organization would have its own different reporting requirement. So, say, for example, if you're using any of the existing collection management tools, then from a field agent standpoint or from a contact center productivity standpoint, you may have much simpler report. You will not have details like in a contact center scenario how many times there has been a promise to pay, right? So those kind of advanced reports is something which may not be available in other solutions, but yes, in LeadSquare they are available.
Okay, moving to another question from Sandesh. He says, how do you solve for skip tracing?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Shibani, can you please repeat it?
So he says, how do you solve for skip tracing? And he has another question. So that's one question. And the other question is, do you also run on EWS on the data to reduce efforts of collections?
See, Sandesh, these are something which are very particular to your processes, and I think Shibani, what we can do is we can have a one-on-one session with Sandesh if time permits later on. We can schedule it and answer these questions, because these are the things which we can do, and it all depends on what kind of processes is what business wants us to do. So from a capability standpoint, yes, we can do it. How we do it and how we showcase it to you, I think something which we should take it offline.
Sure. And he also agrees that, sure, thanks. So, yes, Sandesh, we will get back to you. I'm moving on to Nakul's question. He says, WhatsApp doesn't allow promotional messages. Will such notifications be counted as transactional messages in case of collections? And then,
Okay, so yeah.
if yes, what is the integration and per SMS cost of such WhatsApp messages?
Okay, so first let me answer Sandesh's question about slip tracing. So I think social media discovery is something which I had showcased as one example of slip tracing. But we can have use cases as and when required, and we can make those use cases work. And there are multiple ways how we can do slip tracing as well in the solution. Now coming to WhatsApp integration. So WhatsApp integration, here we are talking about if the customer has an enterprise WhatsApp account, and if the consent of the of customer's customer, which is in our case here would be borrower, is already taken, then we can push those messages as per a transaction flow. So usually what nowadays organization do is that whenever they are onboarding customer, they either take their consent at that time itself, or when they are promoting their WhatsApp as a communication channel, they send out SMSs and emailers to customer to opt in for WhatsApp. Like, I'll give you an example. I came across a campaign from a top leading bank where I just have to give a missed call on a particular number to give my consent for WhatsApp banking. So, when consent is there, then it would be treated more from a transaction messaging standpoint. And commercial, I think, is something which we can discuss separately.
Okay, sure. Then I'm moving to Sameer's question, who says, "Hi team, do you have a module to track litigation actions such as SAR, FAESI, Section 138, etc.?"
So as of now, we have not done legal integration as such, but yes, platform provides a capability wherein basis your workflow and basis your process, we can define, we can create a extension for our module which can help you track litigation as well. So as of now, what we have done is we can mark the borrower under litigation. So that is something which is available as of now in the system. But if there is a requirement, we can do basic tracking of whether legal is initiated, what is the legal report status, and all those things.
All right. Sanjeev's question now, he says, "Can we import the allocation from Excel sheet to start with?"
Yes, definitely we can do that. So LeadSquare as a platform, we are an open API based platform. So if you just go to api.leadsquare.com, you'll be able to see all our APIs which are there. So you can use APIs either to create borrowers in the system and import details, or alternatively you can do a simple CSV based upload and do a mapping using a front end GUI and get all your information regarding borrowers and your DPDs, everything into LeadSquare.
All right. Rohan says he'd like one too, so I'm pretty sure he's talking about a call offline. So Rohan, we will get in touch with you as well. I believe he has some queries. Now, moving to Sameer's question, he says, "Can you please elaborate on AI features of LeadSquared?"
So AI feature as such, so as I was mentioning, right, we have a model which we call as propensity model. Okay. So propensity model, it completely works on how your data is, and basis your earlier trend for that particular customer, we can do a data modeling and slicing and dicing. So that uses AI ML as a feature, and it helps you to predict the percentage of recovery. So that's what from an AI ML per se, which is there from a collection use case perspective. If there is any other use case required, we can develop a different model accordingly. So basically, as a platform, we have propensity model which can be used in multiple use cases.
Right. Now moving to a part, I think a question which a lot of people may have. Ruxar says, "What about data security? What do you have in place?"
Okay, so data security, LeadSquare is a GDPR compliant application, and from a data standpoint, we are completely compliant. And there are many leading organizations, top BFSI folks, which who are using LeadSquare as a platform. So just to give you a brief of this, are a gist of our customers. So all of them are using LeadSquare, and LeadSquare being a SaaS provider, we take data security as very seriously, and we have all kind of compliance and security needs which are required from an organization standpoint. We comply to that. So if additional details are required, maybe we can take it offline, but just to assure everyone, data security is our top priority. We take it quite seriously, and we have all securities and controls in place which will help you comply with statutory or the regulatory compliance.
Okay, another question I think a lot of people have. Henna wants to know, what are our commercials?
So commercials is something I will leave it at just one point. Once we get into commercials, you will be surprised.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't want to comment more on commercials because I'm not your sales guy. But yeah, I think commercials is something which, if you see, you'll be surprised, and it will be a happy surprise.
Okay, I think we have something to look forward to there. Yes, Sanjeev, we will get in touch with you. Then I'm moving on to Apurva's question. He says, suppose if someone doesn't have Facebook and LinkedIn IDs, then how can we identify them?
So it all depends, what are the kind of customer profile. So take, example demographically from an Indian demographic standpoint, there are 70, more than 75 percentage of, customers have their Facebook profiles, right? So if there are no Facebook or LinkedIn profiles, we can uh, see multiple other modes of communication. Like for example, something which I have top of my mind, we can do a kind of a true caller integration. So Truecaller is something which is available. Many, around 90% of users use Truecaller as a mechanism, right? So there are multiple means and modes where we can do skip tracing. So social media discovery is not the only point over here, guys. You have to think out of the box and try to come up with innovative solutions to address this concern.
And yeah, keeping up with that, Apurva's question is there any other way in which your AI can identify digital presence?
So as of now, we have a social media connector, but if there is a different use case which is required specifically, then we'll work with your team and understand the use case and try to come up with a solution around it.
Right. Moving to Gaurav's question, he says, is it tally compliant?
So from a tele or other LMS standpoint, provided there are APIs available, we can do an integration. We can do an integration with the data warehouse also, if required. So from a compliance standpoint, I think it's not from a compliance standpoint. It's more from an integration standpoint to pull data. So that's where the tally comes in.
Right. I am moving to Nakul's question. He says, for cloud telephony, I saw your website. There is no integration with Kalera. Do you have an integration with Kalera already? If not, how long would you take to complete it?
So currently we provide cloud telephony as an out of box solution, and I think from an integration standpoint, you guys should not be worried about as such, because if your requirements are met from a cloud telephony standpoint, whether it's integrated with Kalera, it's integrated with any XYZ, that should not be there. But yes, if there is a requirement, depending on the complexity of the integration, any integration per se should be doable in maximum period of 2 to 3 weeks, provided both the parties have suitable APIs available.
Yes, I think we are actually integrated with Kalera also, because I remember coming across that.
This is more from a cloud telephony. So we would definitely have integration with Kalera from a dialer standpoint, but not from a
Okay.
cloud telephony per se.
Oh, got it. Nakul has another question. He says, do you have any mechanism to get information of the client from Truecaller app?
So we are working something towards that, a collector, a kind of a connector which bases multiple parameters will help you to identify whether that is the particular customer or not. So, if you go to Truecaller's website, they expose APIs and SDKs. So we are working towards an integration with Truecaller for one of our existing customer. So basis that process. So if there is a requirement, we can do it for you also, Nakul.
Okay, I am moving to Gaurav's question. He says, auto integration with Tally, can you provide?
It's a very high level question, to be very honest. So, I would not be able to comment on it as such at this juncture. Maybe we can connect offline and understand what kind of integration which we are looking at, and solutionize it accordingly. So this is more from our integration standpoint. This is just a gist, but if you go through our website, there are a lot many more connectors which are there which you can integrate with.
Okay. Usman has a question and also sort of a comment. So he's saying currently customer opted for moratorium. So in couple of days, this is going to end. In the coming days, delinquent customers will increase 3 times. How can LeadSquared handle this?
So, Usman, this completely, depends on how your data handling is happening in your LMS or in your tele application, whichever is your loan management system. So, for LeadSquare, we enable collections. We don't do NPA handling. So, NPA handling is something which is done mostly from a loan management standpoint, not from a collection enablement standpoint.
Right. Then Nakul says, what does out of the box solution mean?
Out of the box solution means
He's saying,
is
does it mean limited functionality?
See, so Nakul, it's a pretty good question. So here there are two things which you have to understand. See, LeadSquare as a product, we have a platform. So on the platform, there are certain things which you can do out of the box, which we call it as a configuration. Like, for example, say you want to automate a communication. Say, for example, on 45 DPD, you want to transfer a case from your contact center team to your field collection team. So that is something which we call it as an out of box because it is configuration. But say, for example, if you want to do an integration as such, that say on 45 days after your DPD of 45 days, and after your field team is not able to make a collection, then transfer it to somewhere else, and or send that data to some to your LMS and classify it as NPA. So that comes as an integration which needs some kind of efforts to integrate with your system. So that we call it as a part of custom framework.
Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in. So if any of you have any questions, please do shoot them out right away, or we will end the session soon. I know some of you were saying that you joined the session late, so don't worry about that. We will send you the recording and the deck. Just a quick reminder for our webinars in the coming week. So tomorrow we are discussing digital marketing in insurance. So anybody from the insurance sector interested in digital marketing and what all you can do at the moment, please do join the session. And for those of you who are LeadSquared users, we have a security update webinar on Thursday. So do join us for that. It's at the same time as this session. Okay, so now we do have more questions coming in. So Apurva says, do you also provide scores for borrowers?
So borrower scoring is something what we do as of now, is something that, basis your engagement with a borrower, we can do a borrower scoring. Okay. So like say, for example, for a particular borrower, when you send them a communication, so it is the scoring is completely based on activity. So when you send them a communication, if the borrower opens that communications or say reads the email, then it is scoring which we can completely do. So scoring as per se, we can do it basis engagement, and engagement is purely basis an activity, right? So for us, activity is a phone call, a visit to a customer, an SMS to a customer, or an email to a customer. So the complete scoring of a borrower is based on the quality of the activity which is done for the borrower and what is the response of the borrower when that activity is happening. If required here, we can also do an integration with Sibyl Experian and fetch the credit score as well, if that is a use case.
And he has some follow-up questions also. He says, if yes, what are the parameters, and does it include bureau score also?
I think I've answered all those items then. So yes, the parameters are purely activity driven, and yes, bureau score integration is something which is possible. We can do a Sibyl Experian soft hit to get the bureau score.
Okay. Then I'm moving to Prajwal's question. He says, how successful are you in skip tracing with your existing clients?
So one of the top education company in India uses our platform for collections. So I won't be able to disclose the name, but yes. So they do something similar of what I tried to explain. If social media discovery is something which is not happening, then they take help of our true caller mechanism, and they are able to trace customer. So from a percentage standpoint, I won't be able to tell you the percentage, but yes, there are alternate means and ways available to do skip tracing. And if required, we can brainstorm on it and come up with multiple solutions depending on your customer base and type of customers.
All right, great. So I think we have covered all the questions, and there are quite a few here. So again, if you have any further questions, any other point that you'd like Shrey to explain again, please do ask right away. Okay, so we getting another question from Nakul. He says, like we configure the flow of the call ourselves in a cloud telephony system, can we do edit the flow of the renewal clients use cases regards to SMS or email reminders for various client buckets in LeadSquared, or we have to be dependent on LeadSquared team each time for any flow changes to be implemented?
So Nakul, first of all, very good question. You have given me very good fodder, a very good communication to answer that question. So, LeadSquare as a platform, we have a philosophy of do it yourself, wherein, platform empowers the customers of LeadSquare to make the changes as per their need and as per their requirement. So, I think in crisp is something which this should answer the question. So any changes in the flow, you can yourself do it. It's a drag and drop GUI based workflow editor and a process designer. You can do it as per your need, as per your convenience. You don't even need help from your own IT folks. That is something which I would like to point out as well.
Okay, sounds super easy. Nakul's also saying perfect, thanks. So I think, yes, I do not see any more questions. Thanks so much, Shrey and Abhishek, for your time. And
Thank you.
Shrey, yeah, if you have any other further points you'd like to add before we end the session, or any advice, anything at all.
Yeah, so just couple of things from my end. See here, basically what we need to take into account is the power of LeadSquare as a platform. See, the collection use case is something which we're able to build on the platform itself. It's not something which we have done customization or done a development from scratch, right? So here collection strategy can be configured and customized as per your need. So it's not limited to BFSI. If you ask me, LeadSquare as a platform can do a collection for a B2B use case as well, right? So say in a scenario of a auto organization, right? If I'm part of say an auto company, say for example Maruti, I can do my collections for my dealers. I can do it for my wholesalers. So you anywhere where there is collection involved, LeadSquare as a platform can be used and it can be molded as per your business processes. That's a takeaway from my end, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Shibani.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Quick reminder again, as I told you about the webinars, if you're interested, insurance, digital marketing and insurance tomorrow, and LeadSquared security features, all the security features that you've been wondering about or think wondering if LeadSquared has it or not, we will talk about that on Thursday at 3 p.m. IST. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.